People going to get on late, but
cool.
Now we're recording. So whoever's not on, basically tonight, after being on Brittany's leadership call earlier today, I thought, how can we best utilize this time? And I really liked that, Q&A session that we did where, her coaches were able to ask me questions and how I've been able to build a business, because Brittany and I are very similar in a lot of ways. Our demographic is very similar, 25 to 35, single or newly married, absolutely loves their pets. She has a dog and cats, just like we do. And I think we have the exact opposite. We have 1 cat and 2 dogs, and you have 2 cats. So, in a lot of regards, we're very similar, but our personalities and our styles are very different. So it's really interesting, working with Brittany, because she is so articulate and she is so, I was telling her, last week, she's got great knowledge of business, and she's never run a business. She comes from a background in nursing. So it's really cool to team up with her and see her perspective on things. And I think together we've been able to build some really strong material to help you guys as coaches. But Brittany is very unique in that she has hit the ground running from day one with this business, and you might not know it from looking at her adorable face, but she is a shyer person. The first time I met her, it was kind of like, do we say hi? I don't know what's going on. But the cool thing about our first meeting was it was at a Chalene Johnson personal development seminar called Smart Success. So even as a newer coach, she was taking the initiative to get to events, get to training, and, not only get to the event and listen, but then go home and implement. And I think that's what makes her unique and successful in this business. So with all of that being said, do you guys have any questions where when you heard that she was going to be on the call that you were like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to ask her or get some FaceTime to see how she did X, Y, and Z?
Don't be shy. I'm totally normal. Trust me, I'm more shy than you are probably. So
Amy, we can't see your face. You disappeared on us.
I'm eating dinner.
Me too.
I don't want you to see me chewing
That's so funny. Actually, so earlier today I had to get on that call with Leanne, and I didn't have time to cook my turkey, so I was like, crap, I'll just make egg whites.
Oh.
They probably can't stand me on that call because I am the odd man out in every single way. I was telling Brittany earlier today, I will present ideas and brainstorming things, and the rest of the group is just not receptive to what I have to say. And honestly, I think it's because they're older and they just don't get the way that we think. We like things to be fun.
So where are you guys at in your business? Obviously you're leaders in the team, but how long have you guys been coaches? I'm just curious.
Well, Kendra has been a coach since October, right?
Wow.
And she's got 14 Success Club points. Basically, everybody on this call has 4 or more coaches, and most of them have, well on their way to Diamond with Emeralds. Alyssa's been a coach for a while, and I feel like you took a sabbatical on us, but you came back, right?
Yeah, I was a coach for, it'll be 2 years in March, but probably for a good almost year, I didn't do anything.
Yeah. I gotcha.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I think I have Alyssa, but I've been a coach over 2 years now.
Okay.
But sorry, I'll pull it down so you can see me. I just wasn't consistent. So,
Amy, is your microphone super close, or is that the way that I hear? You're super loud to me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know.
So,
am I loud?
Amy's in a very different position than most coaches. She signed up under her cousin who ended up not working the business. So we transferred her husband into that spot, and she actually built her husband to Diamond, and she's almost to Diamond.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm
title of Diamond.
I started first, but he's way up above me, so it's good for the paycheck for the for the cycle bonuses, and I think that's part of why maybe I didn't push as hard, because, you know, $200, $300, $500 is rolling in every week, and I don't have to do anything.
Wow, yeah.
But now my husband's getting out of the Army this summer, and we're going to be losing a lot of that income, so it's like go time.
Yeah.
Hey, Mommy.
Oh my gosh, how cute. Not to take away from the seriousness of building a business.
Yeah. I love her little shirt.
And Liz, how long have you been a coach now?
Wait, are you talking to me now?
Yeah, you.
Sorry. Since the end of September in 2012. So, like 15 months?
Yeah.
17 months. Something like that.
So one thing that, you know, I'm really passionate about duplicating on our team, and I was talking on Brittany's team about this earlier, is generations of success. So the best example of that is, you know, Nikki, you know, kind of branched off after a while, and she's got Melanie, and Melanie is, of course, now 15-star, but I mean, there are so many layers of success, and that's what Liz is actually building with her coach, Kelly. Kelly, you can wave if you want.
Oh, yeah. I recognize your face, yeah.
Yeah, and that's like something that Liz is like really taken and run with, and I could not be more proud of that, because I think that is the true measure of a leader and a true measure of success, being able, you know, for not only Kelly to succeed, but then for Kelly's coaches to start to be success. And Kelly, you are incredibly close to diamond, aren't you?
Yeah.
I honestly thought this week I'd wake up and you might be diamond.
Well, there's one little weak link, and she just hasn't bit the bullet yet. So it's
You're getting
my grand coach is who she would be.
I got you.
No, what is that? Anyway, she's who is going to get my next coach to Emerald. Messaged her. And she's been on several Bombshell calls, like on Monday, but she like has all these excuses. So I kind of just moved on from her, and I told my coach to just start finding somebody else, because if she wanted to do it, she'd have done it already.
Yeah.
So this train is leaving. She needs to hop on.
Yeah.
Good
That's
for
my
you.
favorite little saying.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say to Brittany, excuse my chewing, I listened to your portion that you re-recorded for us from the call that didn't get recorded, and it really helped me a lot. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad it was helpful. Sometimes I think I've told Katie this before, sometimes I feel like, I wonder if this gets annoying, because it's like the same stuff I talk about all the time, but at the same time, it's refreshing for me to even do calls about like the topic, meaning like, you know, finding success like right away or whatever seems to be like a common whatever topic that I talk about. So sometimes I'm like, oh man, I wonder if people are like, yeah, move on, you know. But at the same time, when I you know, prepare for a call, it's so true, and it's as my business is growing, the themes are still the same. It's like not really different, to be honest. So it's like if we stick to the basics, like I'm sure Katie has taught you all many, many, many times, it grows, you know. So thank you. I'm glad it helped you.
Yeah, I told her you're the latest person that I'm stalking on YouTube, so.
One person. That's good.
Actually, so Julie Voris brought this up today, and she said that, you know, when you're running something like a Coach Basics group or an Emerald to Diamond group, sometimes like we think of the content as being redundant because we talk about it all the time. So it's almost like being a kindergarten teacher. You know, it's like, how many times can I teach these kids how to write the letter A? But to them, they need that reinforcement. They need to hear that lesson over and over. And I thought that was such a great point, because to us it might seem annoying, but to other people they're like, this is gold. And the great thing, you know, about putting it on YouTube is you can then use that resource, you know, for generations of coaches. And I think you guys as upcoming leaders need to start thinking about, you know, building content like that on a platform like YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like, you know, when you sign up as a coach and you put your spouse or whoever at the top of your business, and at the time they're the only person there, so you're like, this seems really stupid. Like there's no volume under them. But then 2-3 years later, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that mom and dad are like at the tip top of my business. So yeah, that, I mean, the YouTube content, amazing.
Yeah.
Like you just,
that was something that I put off for a long time, probably maybe similar to some of you guys, because it's awkward being on video. Like you say 50 times and you don't really have all your thoughts together, but you don't want to read a script. You know, there's all these like reasons why I'm just not going to do it. But as the team grew and as the need for either guidance or encouragement or questions answered just grows, I mean, having that as a lifesaver made me think of Liz. I mean, I like your videos, Liz, the ones that I see, but you know, like your downline is growing and duplicating, and so like your video could mean the world to your 7th level coach in a week, you know? So it's important, you know,
God,
just like.
that is awesome. Isn't Katie so much fun to listen to?
That's my voice.
Okay?
who is listening to the game?
Is that me?
Great.
Wait, let me
Now,
see.
first of all, I just gotta keep going.
No,
because
not me.
I have a spur in my gut right now just from listening to Katie talk. So I'm absolutely so much fun. Like,
Does anybody have a video?
It's like creeping me out.
Part to me is new coaches, just like I consider myself, us hacking on to what works.
Who is YouTubing while we're on the call?
I'm going to mute myself and tell me if it stops, okay?
It stopped. Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't even take it.
Oh my gosh. That is so embarrassing. I'm like, that is my voice and it's horrible. Okay, I'm sorry. I had like 50 things on the bottom and it just started playing.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Okay,
Kate.
cool. So you posted that on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have the file for you. It's just like, I don't know what it's doing. It's uncoding or something, so I can email it to you.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's on YouTube.
So, yeah, like that's like another thing, the call that we did Wednesday. I hope that you guys got on it with new coaches and, you know, your levels of your downline, because we felt like there was a need for people to basically have help getting started. You know, that it's, as a newer coach, you know, when you're signing up as a coach and then you're all of a sudden Emerald and then now your coaches are signing up coaches, sometimes it feels like this runaway train. On the one hand, you really want that, but then on the other hand, you're sitting there like, I am so scared and I have no idea what to tell these people. So we wanted to put together a call for all of the newbies and for you guys as leaders to hear how we present the business, you know, from the conception of, you know, that person signing up and taking them through those first very vital steps. And a lot of that I feel is mindset, because mindset and personal development is the key and what's going to get them through those obstacles. And one specific thing I did want to go over tonight is, you know, this month is such an exciting month with the 21-day fix release, and, you know, it's like product launches and all these things going on, and it's like the Team Cup. I don't want us to end this month and everyone to be burned out and to kind of, you know, take that sigh of relief after the Team Cup and then not pick up the momentum again in March because they feel like I neglected my family. I messaged so many people that they probably don't want to hear from me for a year. So as you're talking to your coaches, we need to, you know, figure out how they're feeling, where they're at, and making sure that they have life balance. And this is something we had talked about on Brittany's call. You know, having life balance is the reason a lot of us started this business. You know, whether it's to get away from a career that's unsatisfying and where we're working all these hours, or, you know, to kind of get out of the rat race and not have to work a full-time job and a part-time job. So yes, you're going to have to work the business and kind of put, you know, the pedal to the metal in the beginning, but you have to have that life balance, because if you get to the top of the mountain and you've pissed off your entire friends and family and your relationship is in shambles, you're going to be at the top of that, success, and you're going to be sitting there by yourself wondering what happened. So I just want to nip that in the butt. I don't want to have anybody have, relationships break down because they're not delegating their time properly. But how do you guys feel that your team cups are doing? Do you think that they are getting burnt out, or this is the right amount of, push to propel them into summer? You guys can share your thoughts.
I think it's perfect. Like, I'm on a team with Emily and Jess Myrick, and then her coach, Melissa, and we all have at least, I think, 15 Success Club points. Wow. And a lot of us have never reached anywhere near that. And I don't know, we get along really well, and we've done it in a way that we're just kind of setting goals, but we're not really making it like something that we can't keep continuing from now on.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a great point. I mean, have you guys talked about what's going to happen, like life after the cup?
Yeah, we talked about it, and I think, because right now we do a call every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m., and I think we're going to either try to do that every other week or at least once a month to try to maintain what we've been doing.
Good. I'm so happy to hear that. That is some dedication right there.
I love that little tagline, "Life after the cup." I'm gonna do a video about that.
Oh, that is a really good idea. Those videos, man. I wanted to look and see. I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head right now, but do you guys want to know how many Success Club points Melanie Mitro has?
Yes.
100.
You guys are going to freak out. Guess. I want to hear some guesses.
249.
It takes 270 something.
It's out of control. No, I think last time I looked, it was 189. Or no, it was 200 something. You're right.
Yeah, because I was going to say, you said 190 something a week ago or a week and a half ago.
For some reason, my computer's not loading. Let me try it on here real quick. You guys are going to freak out because, oh, wait, here. Whenever I looked at it last night, the amount of points that she earned in this month was more than I earned in the entire year last year. She's at 239 Success Club points.
Oh, I was 10 away.
Yeah.
That is nuts. And awesome and nuts, and it's nuts.
And so what's even cooler than that, kind of going back to that topic of generations of success, Deidre Penrose has 47, and she's 7-star qualifying, and she signed up in November of 2012. So, it's not like Melanie has the success, nobody is even close to her Success Club points, but I'm looking at her downline. 12, 16, 7, 6, there's some zeros, of course, 27, 12, 22, 10, 37.
Wow.
So 40, that's some serious
duplication.
That's the word. And that's really what I would like to be able to say for our team. Not only are we striving for success, but that we have that burning desire that when somebody signs up with us, on the one hand, you're not their mom, you're not their babysitter, and you're not their boss, but you are their mentor, and you are that light, for them. And you are that, I think of being a sponsor coach as like being a guided light down a dark hallway, and you're kind of showing them the way, and you can't drag them, but they have to be willingly, coming down that hallway, but they're not going to get there unless you get there first, unless you light the way. It's very unusual for a coach to kind of break out and, run on their own. So when you're signing up somebody, I'm just, asking you guys to take that commitment very seriously, and, to understand that it is that balance of inspiring and letting them kind of rise up on their own, but you can achieve, insane things if you have people kind of locking arms with you and, rising to the top together. I think that helium balloon example is the best example when you have other helium balloons and you guys kind of tie yourselves together and you can use that strength to lift, you know, something heavy up. At least in the movie Up. Like, I visualized the house. So, like, our team is, like, just, like, a crap load of helium balloons, and we're trying to, like, you know, gather and, you know, have this common goal together. And, I don't know. That's my vision for our team. Balloons. But anyway, so what other questions do you guys have for Brittany? You know, I think you guys can learn a lot from her as far as being able to come into the business and not treat it like, oh, I can't do that because I'm new. She just really, you know, jumped in. So, Brittany, I guess my question for you is, as a newer coach, what was going through your head? Like, how did you get people to sign up as a coach so quickly when you had not seen success?
I led with the business opportunity at first because I had, like Katie said, I joined as a coach like 2 weeks into starting P90X, so I didn't really have much of a transformation going on. And even when I did have a transformation going on, I didn't have some like grand transformation like some people have. So I'm proud of my transformation, but it wasn't something that was like, oh, wow, you know, it wasn't incredible. So I led with the business opportunity. I saw the potential. I saw Lindsay Matway's income, of course, but then I saw the other levels that are lower than her, but still like incredible. So I saw that it wasn't just like a sticker shock income goal. I saw like the actual, you know, typical household replacement income. And I saw things like Scotty, and I don't think I ever saw Katie's income, but I knew she made 6 figures. And I knew, you know, multiple people made 6 figures, and they were normal people. So to me, I led with the business opportunity. I said, I will replace my nursing income. I will come home, and I will provide an opportunity for my husband to come out of the military if he wants to. And so that's what I led with, to be honest. I think I built to Diamond on business builders just from the business opportunity, which isn't typical, but I only had one challenge group in the midst of going from coach to Diamond. So I only had one successful challenger decide to become a coach in that time frame. Eventually more came on, but I definitely led with the business opportunity. Now that's changed though. Now I don't lead as, I probably do half and half now. Now I definitely see the total value in a challenger becoming a coach, because they have the belief, they have the transformation, they know the Beach Ready culture. So now I'm sort of half and half, but in the beginning I did lead the business without any success. I mean, the only success I had was $80 a week, you know, for the first 3 weeks or whatever. But I just said, I know it's not a scam because I'm making $80, you know, working full time. So I know this will build. So that's kind of what I did. I just led with the business.
And then since you started, I mean, you had a pretty quick start. You didn't have a lot of challenge groups going, but I'm sure that you talked to a lot of your warm market pretty quickly. You didn't waste any time. So at a certain point when your warm market started to run out, did you find yourself scrambling to build with your cold market, or did you have things in place?
I actually had things in place, and I'm not really sure where that came from. I think I just saw so many successful coaches using something other than their personal Facebook. And so I thought, okay, there's a common theme here. Maybe I should think about that. I had no clue what I was doing. I started a blog, or I made a blog website. I didn't do anything with it. I have a blog now, and I'm putting more time into it, but it wasn't really my thing right away. It just wasn't something I liked doing. So maybe about 6 months into the business is when I really prioritized asking for referrals. I figured out like how I could ask without feeling weird, or without feeling pushy, or without feeling, you know, sort of forced, you know, to ask for people to come to me. So I kind of in a way perfected for me what I felt comfortable asking people about. Like, if you have any friends that want to join you, that sort of thing. So I pushed myself out of my comfort zone to ask for referrals all the time. And that really helped me for sure continue to get Success Club. And then about 8 months in is when I decided to try a like page. And 8 months in until literally last month is the first time I've seen any return on my like page. So, but I've been working on it consistently for almost 6 months now. So like 5 or 6 posts a day.
Do you have a lot of followers? Like Brigida?
Right now I have 6,000. I do pay though $5 a day to promote it.
Yeah.
So I didn't always do that though. I just sort of did that. I think I started doing that in November when I did a 5-star push, because I wanted, to be honest, I didn't want to focus on anything else other than the 5-star push. So I knew that if I paid $5 a day for my like page to grow, I would be adding people to my market without me having to look for them. That's honestly why I did it. So I was able to just focus on my 5-star, but I knew I was still adding to my market with that $5 a day. And I decided to keep it to see how it grows. So so I think I learned from the people who have gone before me that, that eventually the warm market does, I don't know if it'll ever totally run out, because I think people are ready at different stages of their life, but it's definitely gonna be, less warm market, more cold market. So
then, obviously you made like the big push to get to elite and 5-star. So what were some of the things that you were doing with your leaders to help them get from, being a strong emerald to getting to that diamond benchmark?
It's very basic, to be honest. I can't remember exactly when I think I asked who was willing to push. I think I asked in like August, saying who wants to be diamond by the end of the year, basically. And 10 people said, I really want to be diamond. And so we started a little Facebook group, right? Just like encouragement, like, okay. And I had everyone create a file in the group. I firmly believe in dates, even though some personalities shy away from it. I feel like it's the best way to stay on track. So I had them make their own dates of when they wanted to add, if they needed 4 coaches, 1 coach by August 20th, 2nd coach by August 30th, whatever. They made their own timeline. And they just updated it as they went along. And the group was more just for encouragement and support. I didn't ask them to post anything in particular. It was there just for support. And then as time was going on, I was seeing that the numbers weren't quite, because originally I was going to push for 10-star. I was going to be completely crazy and push for 10-star. And so as the weeks were going on in August, though, the numbers just weren't there, right? Like people just were not progressing. So my initial reaction was like, well, 5-star is out the window too. I'll just be a 3-star or 2-star or whatever. But then I was like, well, that's not exactly fair. Like these people have it in them. Like half of them really would push. So I decided to take the 5. I only had 5 to choose from, which is not wise, but I only had 5 to choose from that were actually moving. They were actually adding coaches, and they weren't hitting every deadline, but they were trying. They were inviting consistently. They were, it was clear that they were trying. So I took those 5. I didn't hurt the whole 10's feelings. I didn't make an announcement. I just took 5 and moved them to another Facebook group. And I said, okay, look, this is the deal. Like, if we want to do this, if we want to be a 5-star team in like 8 weeks, like we have to get going, like right now. So if you're out, no hard feelings. Just tell me it's not going to work for you. But if you're in, I got to know you're in, because whoever's in is going to have my priority attention for the next 8 weeks. And 5 of them rose up and they said, I'm in. So literally, I don't know if this is right, but this is what I did. I literally shut off everything else. Everything else went automated. My challenge group posts went to Sendable or Hootsuite or whatever. I told you about my like page. They were, I paid $5 a day to continue to grow my market. I only focused on those 5. And so like I posted on my regular Facebook, all the bare minimum was done. But as far as moving my business forward, it was the 5. And what we did is I did opportunity calls with them. I got on 3-way calls with their potential emeralds. I got on 3-way calls with their prospects to sign up. I mean, it was a lot of work, but it was 150% worth it. So I shared, basically because the people that were pushing, like Katie said, were barely an emerald, if that. One of them wasn't even an emerald. So they were just used to what to say, how to say it, how confident, some of them are making $100 a week at most. So they don't have this confidence from the income either. So they really needed their upline to say, this is what you need. This is your goal. We can take you there. We want you to come with us. We can promise you that we won't leave you on the side of the road, that sort of thing. So it was a lot of three-way calls, and it was a lot of support for those 5 because it got tough. When they missed their deadlines, it got tough. Then they felt bad because they were like, I'm the only one out of the 5 not moving forward. But the group aspect was so important. They encouraged each other, and we did a lot of personal development. So that kind of was what it was. It was just pretty much, it was a short period of time where my husband understood if my phone goes off at 10:30, I'm going to answer it because these people are my priority, and it's a big, crazy goal we're going for, and they did it. So that's kind of what we did. I wouldn't do that long term. We were burnt out for like 2 weeks, but it was good. It taught them a lot too. It taught them about being a little bit more assertive. It taught them to be a little bit more bold with inviting. And they're all diamond coaches building to star diamond. So it was definitely worth it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I guess it kind of can be for anyone because I'm not really sure if you had this situation or not. But when you sign up like family members, like your mom, dad, boyfriend, or whatever, that's not going to work the business that you have, that you're going to build that, at what point do you start building that? Because I have my mom as a coach under me now. And so I have 10 coaches, but I have 8 active coaches. So I don't know at what point, like if I should sign a few more coaches first before I put under her, or if I should just go ahead and put the next 2 coaches that I have sign up under her.
I think, it might be different, but I think you should have a buffer first. I think you should have a couple buffer, and then I think you should build your family member to emerald, and then keep building your buffer. I personally, the reason I'm saying this is because I had sort of a weird situation. I built my husband, my husband was on my weak leg for, whatever purposes, so that for the future of the business, I could open business centers under his weak leg to maximize on income. I built him to almost diamond. He had 8 coaches. He just needed 2 of them to go emerald. And they were all discount, and they all, not all, but 4 out of the 8 decided they got a stockpile of Shakeology, so then they delayed, whatever. Then it turned out my weak leg got 3 times stronger than the leg I share with my upline. So it made no sense to open my second business center under my husband on a leg that was already 3 times as strong as my other leg. So I canceled my husband's account and moved him all the way down to my other leg to open my second business center for a long-term purpose. So I guess the reason I say that is because, I absorbed all of his coaches. That's fine. But there's some coaches on the inside leg now, which is not ideal. So I feel like if you're going to build your family member, what I tell my people is build them to emerald for sure, because then whenever you have an emerald that you can control, that's really good, especially for diamond long term. But to build them to diamond, I feel like in my opinion, just from my downline, especially because my organization is so new, so young, I feel like you got to have a solid buffer. I'm talking 5 to 8 extra coaches before you build another person to diamond. That's my opinion. I mean, maintain their emerald, but
that's what I mean, because I just want to build her to emerald at this point. So do you think I would be safe putting my next 2 coaches under her, or maybe my next 1 coach every other?
That's what I would do. I mean, of course, you got to sort of see what the people look like in the downline. If you feel, you can never be 100% sure, but if you feel good about them drinking Shakeology or whatever, that's what I would do. I would do 1 at a time and just go easy. But but at the same time, if you give your family member a coach and then something crazy happens in your own downline, you know enough and you can push enough to get another person to replace them. So it's not the end of the world if something goes wrong with the numbers. But yeah, in my experience, I would build, I'm not saying build slowly. I'm just saying just build carefully with your family member.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if anyone else has a different opinion. That's just my experience, but.
We have Tim's mom is his other emeralds to keep him at least at Ruby. We go between Ruby and Diamond. Katie's probably ready to rip my head off. I'm like, I just need to hold it for 6 weeks for her, and we can never hold it for more than like 4 or 5.
Oh man, yeah.
So I mean, I have bought many a Shakeology, paid for myself, had it ordered under their account just to keep people active, and like I'm so tired of doing that, and I don't need this much Shakeology. So it's a gamble. So you never know. People you think are going to be business builders aren't, and then people come out of the woodwork. It's you just never know.
So how many coaches were you recruiting a month, would you say? Like, were you setting like those goals? I'm sure you were, but.
You know what goal I set? Katie reached out to me when I was nobody, and she was like, let's get on the phone. I was like, oh my gosh, Katie Heifner wants to talk to me on the phone, but okay. And she said that she talked to Barbie, or who did you talk to?
Barbie. So you were doing 3 to 5.
So that's where I set my goal, 3 to 5. In many months, I hit barely 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Barbie is a genius, man.
What do you think was the most effective thing that you did with your new coaches to kind of get them going?
The most effective thing. So we obviously didn't have Coach Basics yet. I think the most effective thing for me was being really vulnerable with my coaches. I shared my income with them from day one to show them the growth. Just the basics though, brought them in my challenge groups for them to be apprentice coaches, to learn how to lead, emphasize your own personal fitness and personal development. But I led calls from the beginning, which I know so many of you guys do calls and, these hangouts. It was really uncomfortable for me to be a leader, but I just chose to do what I felt like a leader should do from the beginning, and I learned as I went. But I think for me, it's like just the relationship with the people was the most important. Now, it's tough, I know, at first, because a lot of your downline sometimes are your friends. And so it was hard for me to really understand that my time needs to be spent with the people who are moving, who are doing something. So once I learned that, though, it really helped my downline. So I can be friends with so-and-so that just wants to stick at Emerald Coach or whatever, but I don't need to be spending a ton of energy and business time towards them. So once I learned that, I think I kept moving, and I learned quickly. I think I learned from Lindsay Stay something like, if you want this business to grow, there's no way around it. You have to recruit. So figure out what's holding you back from recruiting, and let's do it, because that's, there's no way to build higher incomes, more freedom unless you recruit, unless you add to your team. And I think I just tried to keep it simple. I learned that from Lindsay that way. I'm an Emerald personality by nature. So I can get not caught up, but I can get all razzed about the details and such. But I learned that not everyone's like me, and that most people just need direction, and a quick, guidance. So keeping it simple, Emerald, Success Club, Challengers, and that's it at first. So yeah. And I don't know how you guys feel, but I you had a question too, but in the beginning for me, I spent a lot of time with my people, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. But again, I learned time management when I went to Smart Success. I learned things as I went that I could implement, but I still think the core, and I would do it all over again, is that I spent most of my time with the people who were getting at least a couple Success Club points on the board each month. So those are the people I still do it. I write their names on, now I have a whiteboard. God's blessed me with more people. So I used to have just a sticky note with 3 people on the sticky note though, So I try to be aware of the people that are actually moving, that are actually implementing what you're teaching them.
We love our whiteboards.
Yeah.
Lifesaver.
Kendra, you raised your hand, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
So in the challenge group, when you have apprentice coaches, what do you actually have them do to help out? Or are they just kind of in the background listening? Because a lot of mine, I'm starting one on Monday that I'm going to have apprentice coaches for the first time. And I'm not sure how to get them involved because they've been in my challenge group. So just sitting there, I feel like wouldn't really do that much.
So I can tell you from my failure, I was kind of like a bossy boots in the beginning. I was running the whole thing. You know, I was scheduling my posts. Like, I was the one posting. I came up with like the little mini challenges or whatever. It was like all about me. And their job was to like people's stuff and, you know, and encourage them and whatever. And like, that's cool, but that doesn't give anybody any wings. That doesn't give anyone any confidence. So now what I do is I run the preseason in the first week, and I say, hey, I message my apprentice coaches in a group message, and I say, hey, these are the weeks we got going on. Who will step up and be in charge of this week? And some people just won't. And that's what I learned. Some people just want to be on the sidelines. They're a part-time coach or whatever. But if you give people the opportunity, they will. And so even if I only had one apprentice coach that was like, yeah, I want to post, then I would split it up with them. I'd say, I'll take the first week, you take the second week. I'll take the third week, you take the fourth week, or whatever. So to me, I can easily get and slip into like manager mode and say, okay, Katie, you take this week, and you take that week, and you do this, and you post that. So I've learned not to do that. I've learned to say, this is the need, like who will step up, and let them step up. It shows true colors, and it does a lot for the person. And then I provide the document. I'm like, look, you can copy and paste if you want, you know, or you can make it your own. And that's just added a lot more value to the groups. And I've only been doing that for like 3 months. I mean, I've been like a bossy boots for quite a while. So, but when I changed it up, it really, it's helped just the feel of the group and the coaches.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kelly, do you have any questions? You've been so quiet.
I guess my biggest question was when I have a lot of coaches, and I know you said lead with the business. Like, I probably had 10 prospect coaches last month, but they never kind of dove in. Mm-hmm. And I led with the business, but I get a lot, I guess, network marketing and kind of pyramid scheme, a lot of those objections in business. I really know they're just still like a little bit skeptical. So my other question to you, those 5 that you did push to Diamond, did you know those people, or had you never even met them?
I knew them. And I think that was a big difference because I already had a relationship with them. Now, I wasn't best friends with them all. I mean, some of them I hadn't talked to since, you know, I don't know, 6-7 years or whatever, but they still knew me and they still trusted me. So I do think that was a big component in why they were willing to go for something crazy. You know, like they didn't think like, oh, Brittany's going to make, I don't know, $10,000 off of me. I don't know who thinks, you know, they don't know the details of the bonuses or whatever. So I think that was a big, I think the trust aspect was big because they were willing to go with me. But at the same time, I think that's why it's so important. Katie's shared the ideal customer avatar with me. I think that's so important to attract quality coaches, the people that you want in your business from the beginning. Because if you attract those people from the beginning, you know, it'll take them a little while to warm up for sure. I mean, they have to figure out this is not a scam. But once you're ready to push, those people are going to push with you because they're your kind of people. You know, like you get each other. So it's not like a complete opposite personality that's like, oh, well, she's probably just trying to make some money off of me or whatever. So, but I do think the trust component was the biggest part of that. And so that's taught me a lesson in my cold market when I'm now the majority of my new coaches are people I don't know. And so that's shown me that I have to figure out how to build that trust with these strangers quicker. You know, I have to figure out how to connect with them quicker. And you cut out a little bit for me. I think I understood your question though, that a lot of your prospects were thinking, just aren't informed about like modern network marketing. Is that kind of what you were saying? Yeah. They're skeptical because they hear the pyramid scheme term or whatever. Okay, so this is my opinion from an introvert and a shy person. I think those things have to be dealt with head on. I think you have to just address them. So for me, I did it in a video recently. I actually did it in a video, and I incorporate it into my coach training now because it's so common. I mean, of course it's common, and I'm sure you guys have heard of this, but this book has really helped me learn how to explain like how network marketing isn't scammy. But I think the people that say, oh, I've heard I just had a brand new coach who just signed up yesterday actually say, I did a bunch of research and I saw on a message board that Beachbody is a pyramid scheme. So I just said an email. I said, okay, that's cool. Like, I have no problem answering your questions if you want to hop on the phone, or we could do an email. Can you tell me specifically what your questions or your concerns are? I have no problem answering them. And then she laid it out. And so she specifically said, how do you make money? Do you make more money off? You know, so like she actually kind of knew what a pyramid scheme was, but I'm sure you've heard that call. Most people who say that don't actually know what a pyramid scheme is. So I always say, first of all, a pyramid scheme is illegal. Second of all, Beachbody has, you know, you can talk about the accolades of the business bureau that Beachbody has, but I think the best way to handle that in my short experience is just to tackle it head on, to ask them specifically what they mean by that, like what bothers you or what concerns you specifically, and either you answer it or you ask your upline, like, hey, how do we answer this with a specific, you know, answer. So it's like you learn to appreciate those questions because it just gives you another opportunity to share how legit the business actually is, you know, but the misconception is very common. So I don't know if that answers your question exactly.
You know what? You reminded me. I want to show everybody this picture you posted on your your wall, because I thought this was so great. You know, talking about what is a pyramid scheme exactly, and I handle it very similarly. Like, a pyramid scheme is illegal. There's no exchange of product, and that's not what this is at all. But it's so funny. You guys would like die laughing if you heard Jay explain it, because he's like, is it one? He'll go, do you think it's one of those pyramid things? Yeah, well, it is. Like, Carl's at the top, and like it's just like every other business. And he addresses it with humor, and you know, just like Brittany said, gets to the root of the concern, which is, you know, no, we're not just going to take your money and your Social Security. And we even talked about this on the Wednesday night call, or no, on the Coach Prospect call. I always encourage people to do their due diligence. I'm like, you know what, go interview and research 100 people and websites if that's what you got to do, because like that's pretty much what I did, so I could feel at peace knowing that I'm not going to have identity theft for putting in my Social Security number. And when you say it like that and you give them permission to go research it, something about that just calms their fear. It's like, no, we're not trying to hide anything. Go look it up. You know, they're free to worry about. And then they're like, oh, okay.
Brittany, what was that book that you said you read?
Rock Your Network Marketing Business by Sarah Robbins. You can read it in like 2 hours. It's like really short. I just wanted to say this. I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but I have noticed a shift in my business this year. One, because I think it's the compound effect of momentum building, but specifically with recruiting, Liz, like you said, like last year, I shouldn't say lucky, but I was doing everything possible to get 3 a month. And now I'm getting 10 a month. And the reason I think for that shift is because I'm not saying anyone is like this, but this is how it was. I'm not so desperate for the recruit anymore. My language changed. I am just focused on what I can control, which is how many people I'm inviting. That's the only thing we can control, is like the numbers, like how many people are you going to put in that pool for prospects. And it's like when they have hesitation, I don't want them to join anyways, because if you sign a hesitated coach, you guys probably have all experienced this. It's not fun, you know, like they're really nervous about the whole thing. They doubt everything, you know, it's not fun. So I think for me, that switch of never ever rushing anybody ever into the business opportunity has helped my business so much, because then they're like, oh, well, she doesn't really need me, so I might as well, you know, message her back or ask her the questions that I want to ask her. And you know, now it's very uncomfortable for me, even still. I can't tell you, I don't break out in hives like I'm doing right now, but it's very uncomfortable for me to get on the phone with a stranger. I don't know why. I'm just not really good at it, whatever. So when I offer them a call, like I'm praying they say no, they're too busy, but I do. I offer it, and sometimes they take me up on it, and sometimes they don't. But it's just one of those things that I have to push myself outside of my comfort zone and offer it. It's like Katie said, I think it was Katie that said, she's almost never not signed up someone she's got on the phone with. And it's true, because then they just feel more comfortable. So I think that was a big shift for me, is just respecting that everyone has their own process, and just doing what I can to make sure there's no misconceptions, but at the same time saying, yeah, I'm doing a new coach training group every month. So whenever you're ready, I think you can do it. I believe you can do it, that sort of thing, but not, yeah, sign up. You ready? So.
It's like dating. You don't want the overeager guy. You're like, he texts me a little too quickly. I don't know if I want to go on this date, but you got to play hard to get. And I think that you're exactly right. When you come off as that attitude of, I'm going to build my business, no skin off my back if you don't sign up. It's totally fine. My feelings aren't hurt. You're allowed to tell me no. Then for some reason, people... once that pressure is off of them, they're a lot more likely to sign up. But, when you talk people into it, they end up not doing anything anyway. It's just a drain on your mental energy.
So, okay, I have another question. I remember, I can't remember if it was when I got home from Pittsburgh from New Year's, but I remember it was a call that you and Miguel did, and you were talking about, what was it, that you used to let yourself down easy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I don't feel like I do it as much now, but I used to do it all the time. So what were you doing? Was it just committing to personal development versus like dabbling in it, or what were?
Yeah, well, specifically letting myself down was the 5-star thing. It was like, oh, well, nobody's ready. I don't want to push anybody. I don't want anyone to feel like they're not spending time with their family. It's Christmas, whatever. Maybe next year. But yeah, it was primarily personal development and just getting out of my own way. Like I feel like so many times we put this box around ourselves. I mean, you've heard it quoted probably 15 different ways in different books, but it's true. It's like we put these limitations on ourselves, and that's what I was doing. I'm sure you guys can relate, but I was like, okay, phew, I got to success level 10. I'm not going a step further, like I am not going that's it. I recruited my 3 people. That's it. I got to take a break, whatever. And that's cool. It's not that it's bad, but I was definitely limiting myself, and I was letting myself down easy because I was like, I didn't fully believe in the law of abundance yet. I didn't really get it. I didn't really have I remember I signed up in January. I got 9 success club points in January. February I got 10, and I thought I was going to die because I got 10. And I thought to myself, there's no way I'm going to get 10 points in March. And I did. And then I thought, there's no way I'm going to get 10 points in April. And I did. I did that all year. I did that to myself. It was like torture, right? So now I believe I made myself a believer in the law of abundance, and there is enough. There are plenty of people who need your help. So to me, it's like, if I can hone my focus, then I can do it, and it's like, I can't distract myself with all this negative energy. I have to be completely diving into personal development. And to me right now in this season of my life, it's similar to what Kelly was talking about. It's learning more about like actual network marketing. So that's to me been really valuable. So like GoPro and this book has been really helpful because it builds just like income builds your confidence in the company, like learning a little bit more about the marketing, whatever, this profession in general has given me more confidence to recruit. So, but yeah, I know that didn't exactly answer your question, but yeah, letting myself down easy was primarily personal development and surrounding myself with people who are ahead of me.
Right. So that leads into another question.
Okay, good.
How do you, because Kelly and I have talked about this a lot, like we want a mastermind sort of group, but how do you find and connect yourself with those people to kind of like put yourself in that kind of environment?
Maybe Katie can help me with this because I have tried to duplicate it with my own downline and it doesn't always work. So I think I'm not saying like there's no way to do it. There is, I know. But I think what works with our group is that there are so many different personalities, which you'd think would be opposite. Like, because I mean, that's what I thought in the beginning. I was like, okay, my success partner should probably be like me, so we get each other and we can push each other and combine heads. But really, I think the most valuable part of the mastermind group is that we are so different. Like, Brigitte and I have a similar, like, emerald personality, and Abby and Lindsay and Katie have a similar sapphire personality. But at the same time, all of us have different, like, secondary, like, personality types, and it just kind of goes. Like, I feel like I learn, like, 50 new things every time I talk to a couple of them. So how to recreate that, I think, takes, like skilled pairing is what I think. So I think maybe.
What I think it is, though, is trial and error.
Yeah.
I have been in so many different partnerships, and the two that can stick out of my mind besides like our Dynasty Mastermind group, number one, like Abby and I have just been from the beginning because we both had the desire, even though we didn't know what the heck was going on. But I would say my most successful partnership was with Nikki and Melanie because we had a fit club each week. We physically saw each other, which you could recreate with a Zoom call. But Nikki is a pearl. I'm more of the sapphire ruby, and then Melanie is like more of the emerald. Like I always call her the drill sergeant because she's so disciplined. So when you put all three of us in a situation, it was like every personality type was giving their perspective on a situation, and every personality type was giving feedback on how Super Saturday should be run. And then it was cool because it's so dorky, but I always say aces in their places because you would never put me in charge of finding a venue and scheduling an event. That just should not ever happen. And doing that winter retreat is like hard enough on me because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to send in papers and like, what the heck is this? So, that was something Melanie always took care of. And to this day, she still takes care of it. Whereas I just show up and they're like, go talk to people and go introduce the crowd or introduce the speakers and like whatever. So I think definitely trial and error, but finding those people that bring out, like what does Jim Rohn say about like who cares about your weakness? Like work on your strength.
Yeah.
Essentially. So like finding someone who can make up for whatever your weakness is or whatever that weak point is in your business. And that's why I like working with Brittany so much because we get along, but then we both have like that different perspective to, come together and give the complete package.
Yeah.
As far as who that is for you, I'm always thinking of somebody for you, but like, it's like the problem with Liz is there's nobody else on our team that I feel is like at the same mental wavelength, as far as like your vision for the business, who's in the same place as you in the business.
Yeah. Yeah. So what about, I know it's real awkward because I did it. What about reaching out to someone that's a little bit ahead of you?
Yeah, no, I don't know who to like contact.
Who I'm thinking about is Kendra Fletcher.
Yeah, she just got Success Lipton All-Star, didn't she? Did I just see that or something crazy?
And poor Liz. Poor Liz would have had Success Club All-Star this month except for a snafu with her own HD order in January. I know.
Oh my gosh. They wouldn't do an exception?
Okay, so Lindsay emailed me and Coach Relations ended up, can y'all hear me by the way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Coach Relations called me and they said that they were sending it in to be reviewed for an exception, but I still haven't heard back. And that was about 2 weeks ago now. So I don't know what's going on.
Gosh, I really hope, because I know that was like a huge thing for you to go on stage at Summit. I hope that it's the stupidest thing. It was her own HD order and just the stupidest thing happened and whatever. But yeah, I think Kendra Fletcher, and I also think, even though she's newer, I really do think that you should have a call with Nikki Johnson, who just went diamond today.
I really like her, yeah.
Me too. And I honestly think she's a mom, so, you guys might have difficulty connecting on that level, but I think that she could be the yin to your yang. I really do.
Aww.
It's like a arranged marriages.
What are your guys', I don't really know that much about personality types, but I'm just curious. Like, what are your, like, primary, like, personality types?
I'm a Ruby.
Ruby?
Mm-hmm.
Kendra, I think you're, like, more Pearl.
Yeah.
Kelly, what are you?
I think I'm a Pearl.
Yeah. Kelly likes working with animals. I think anyone who works in, like,
I am a vet.
yeah, like vets and like nurses, I'm like, there's a pretty good Pearl side of you when you do that. Amy, what are you?
All the personality things that I've taken, I'm like almost an even mixture of everything except Ruby.
Okay.
Mainly Emerald, Sapphire, but there's a good bit of Pearl in there as well. So,
Alyssa, what are you?
I don't know. I kind of forget. I remember reading them. I've read them a couple times over and over again, but I always forget. I think it's Emerald, but I'm not sure. It might have been. I really don't remember.
Emerald is facts and figures, but I see you as being more like Sapphire, the fun one, and then Ruby is like kind of the take charge, like competition.
Yeah, I think because I remember like reading parts of it and being like, oh, well, this part goes with this part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all have some of each. Like, did you guys read Personality Plus?
Mm-mm.
I never read it, but it was funny being at the Danny Johnson event when she starts to talk about the personality types, because you're like, oh my gosh, that's me.
Yeah.
Like very like
creepy.
when she actually like explains them.
Yeah. It's
like,
almost like you think you're so
hilarious. It was
unique.
hilarious when she started doing that.
It's like, oh, I guess I'm not. You know what's funny about reading Personality Plus is I finally understood my parents and their marriage, and my dad is an Emerald and my mom is a Sapphire. So imagine like an engineer being married to a Sapphire. It's like my mom will tell these stories where she'll say like the example that she gave in Personality Plus was perfect, where there's like something happened outside and there's like 2 firefighters investigating something, and then the wife is like, there were 10,000 firefighters outside. And that is my mom, like through and through. Like anytime I hear a story from Jay, I'm like, oh, 1,000 or 1. Okay. I just know what that means. And then my dad is very like just an engineer, like what you would imagine. Like everything has to be logical. But it's fun learning that, because then when you talk to your coaches, I'm not going to tell a Sapphire details. I'm just going to be like, look, go out there, talk about this challenge group. Get people to sign up, have fun with it.
Talking about parents, this is totally off topic and has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I don't know if any of you saw it on my Facebook page, but me and my mom were tanning tonight, and they have like a vending machine, and it has like the sample packs of lotions and bottles of lotions and stuff. My mom leans over to me and she's like, is that a condom machine?
Oh my God.
I was like, no, Mom, it's sample packets of lotion. I'm like, oh, I didn't know.
Moms are so cute like that.
Yeah. Lindsay, what's your personality type?
I think I'm more Emerald.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
The quiet one.
Yeah.
I was primarily Emerald and secondary Ruby, but now I'm primary Ruby, secondary Emerald. It's weird. It's changed.
I feel like personal development kind of changes that as well. Like as I'm going, I'm like becoming a little bit more outgoing.
Yeah.
In my comfort zone. So.
And Lindsay actually came to Super Saturday. Was it your first Super Saturday this last time in January? And came up and introduced herself, and I could tell that she was probably freaking out.
Yeah.
I didn't know a single person there at all.
Yeah,
I can relate.
I was so proud. Like, that's huge.
Yeah.
Coming from like a fellow shy person, like I do not like going anywhere myself, and I saw that you went to the movies, Brittany.
Yes.
That is like some hardcore, like you are. You're like, my date is not showing up. Like, I'm here by myself.
Going by myself to see Frozen.
Was it cute?
Yeah, it was really cute. I liked it. I was happy. You know what analogy I really love in this book that I was just telling you guys about is, I was trying to find it so I don't misspeak, but it's okay. It kind of is the same. You guys will get the point. But she's talking about prospecting, and she's talking about like the numbers game, sort of like sometimes you have to invite, you know, however many people in order to get one yes, right? So she's like, you know, and she's really more talking about prospecting. So like you might have to add, who knows, 50 people to your team before you get that one coach who just gets it and takes off. But she's like, you know, you don't know what your number is until you hit it. So you just have to keep inviting, have to keep adding. And she talks about, you know, like if I told you you had 3 gold bricks in your backyard, would you say, I'm going to wait till Saturday? Or would you just go out there with a shovel and start digging? Most likely you would just start digging, you know, right there, no matter what's going on. You wouldn't say, oh, I'll send an invite to that person, you know, in a week or next, you know, when I have a day off. You would probably stop everything. I'm not saying like stop your lives and just do Beachbody, but, you know, that really sort of sunk in with me because it's so true. It's like I've definitely have some great coaches on my team for sure, but I know at the same time the best is yet to come. And so if I put off my invites because I'm shy, because I'm worried about their objection, or I don't want to bug them, or whatever it is, then I'm pretty much like giving away gold. You know, like I'm giving to me, the way I look at it and it sinks into me, it's like I'm inhibiting my family from a quicker freedom. And so it's like, to me, that gets me out of my shell, and it gets me figuring out what works for me and inviting, you know? So, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's like, it's true in this business. And I didn't really get it at first. I mean, I knew it was legit. I knew it wasn't a scheme, but I didn't actually know, like, or a scam. I didn't know how great it was. And I'm still learning. I'm not making crazy income, but I'm making a lot more than I ever thought I would make. And so it's coming together now. And it's like, this truly is like an opportunity that is unlike any others. It truly is like you're digging for gold, you know, and it really will pay off the work that you put in on the front end.
So how are you going about asking for referrals? So I think that's something I need to step up.
Yeah, I try to keep it real light and real positive, and I just talk about, I mean, I don't have a script or anything. It just kind of comes, and I just pretty much talk about that person's results, like how they've helped other people in the group, like, because usually people who have great results are encouraging other people in the group. And I just say, like, I ask them, I'm like, have you been inspiring anybody in your life? You know, like, has anybody been asking you about what you're doing or saying that they're proud of you for what you're doing? And they usually have at least one person, if not more, that say, yeah. And I'm like, man, if you think that you have anyone else in your life that would really love this opportunity or would like to join you in the next challenge group, I want you to make sure that you know that you can send them to me, that I'll be happy to help them. So I just try to, I try to just there's no pressure on them to like bring me people, but it's just, I try to highlight their results or their success, tell them how proud I am of them, and make sure that they realize how important their involvement was to the group, to the other people in the group. Then I ask them if they've inspired anybody in their own life, and then I sort of just make sure they are aware that they can be bringing people with them to the next challenge group or whatever. And then when they're like, oh yeah, I do have a few people, then I can say, well, I can take it. I'll take the commission, or you can take the commission as a coach, you know, depending on sort of how the conversation evolves. But that's kind of what I do. Trying to make it no pressure, you know, I just try to keep it light and keep it sort of like focused on their results, basically.
Okay.
Or their experience, maybe not results, experience.
Yeah, referrals are huge. Because I forget where I saw that, but it's like for every person you know, they have a potential network of like 9,000 people that they could connect you with. So every challenger, I mean, I think about, actually, do you guys know Anna Pietrantoni? I can never say her last name. She's actually a referral that another challenger brought to me, and now she's my coach. And I keep telling her to get that original girl to sign up, but yeah, it's just funny. Like that girl got amazing insanity results and brought me Anna, and Anna drank Shakeology and eventually signed up as a coach. And she's so cute. All right. Do you guys have any other questions? Because we're about an hour and something, I think, in.
I'm good.
Yay. Well, thank you everyone for getting on. I know that it's late over here on the East Coast, but these calls are so valuable because, I think that I've learned a lot tonight, and I think that you guys have hopefully taken away some valuable information. So thank you for getting on. Thank you, Brittany, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I learned a lot too. Talking things out is good. So thank you guys. Good to see you guys' face.
Okay, I'm going to hit stop recording.